Jordan Dumais is more than likely one of the most slept-on prospects in the entire NHL. Last season, he finished second in points out of every player in the CHL, only finishing a little bit behind Connor Bedard. Dumais is 9 months older than Bedard, but still, what he achieved this season is stellar. He popped off this year and won the QMJHL MVP award. If you're new here, then be sure to subscribe. I've got loads of hockey content on the way. If you could leave a like and turn on that notification bell, then it would be greatly appreciated. Jordan Dumais was drafted 96th overall in the third round in the 2021 draft by the Columbus Blue Jackets. At the time, it already looked like quite the steal, but nowadays it's looking like highway robbery. Jordan Dumais is an undersized winger who plays in the Q. The small frame while playing in a less competitive league is likely the reason why he dropped. During his draft season, Dumais put up 39 goals, 70 assists, and 68 games played, which is good for 109 points. Then this season, he absolutely exploded. He played in 4 less games but managed to hit 140 points. He had 54 goals and 86 assists. He broke the Halifax Mooseheads franchise record for most points in a season. A 140-point season was the most points by a player in the league since the 2005-06 season, when Alexander Radulov put up 152 points with the Quebec Remparts. Dumais put up this impressive season as an 18-year-old. Whereas Radulov had that season while he was 19. Jordan Dumais putting up those ridiculous numbers while being that young is a very good sign. Dumais fully embraces his situation. I like this quote from him: "I always have a chip on my shoulder. That's just who I am." In the past couple of years, Dumais has been left out of some big events. The 2022 CHL Prospects Game and the Canadian team at the 2023 World Juniors. Every time he has been left out, it seems to motivate him more. He doesn't get bothered, whereas some prospects would possibly lose hope and confidence. Dumais encourages non-believers, because for all of his life he has had doubters. He loves to prove them wrong. I'm fully convinced that he is going to keep going until he makes the NHL someday and puts up a point-per-game season. Dumais has an honorable work ethic. His drive is admirable. His desire to improve on his flaws is noticeable. He's a true professional. Dumais is an elite offensive player who forces plenty of turnovers. His positioning is something you notice with him all of the time. He always seems to be in the right place. His hockey IQ is excellent. He reads the opposition very well. Overall, his vision is very impressive. It's like he knows where everybody is at all times. His stick work and hands are filthy. Check out these flashy moves. These are just wild. Dumais is a very versatile forward in the offensive zone. The smooth handles and pure determination to find his way around opponents is so exciting to see. Just look at some of this stuff. I love what I see. His shot is at an NHL level. I mean, check out some of these goals. He's got incredible accuracy. The shot comes with some solid power. Look at how he picks corners with his quick release. It's not just the solid shot, though. It's the way he quietly moves into dangerous goal-scoring positions. He's good in front of the net. Dumais seems to be really effective no matter where he is in the offensive zone. I think he has what it takes to be a pretty solid goal scorer, but he shows signs that he could be an even greater playmaker. I love Dumais' passing ability. He freezes up opponents. He has insane patience. He slows the play down. He waits and waits until a lane just momentarily opens up. Then he gets the job done. His passing accuracy is another huge strength for him. The vision and IQ come in handy there. He can rip these saucer passes right onto his teammate's blade for an easy goal. He serves as a total dual threat in the offensive zone. Dumais is one of those guys that makes you say he could make a living in the NHL just with his offensive ability alone. I would say Jordan Dumais' two-way ability is slightly above the average. Obviously, it's the offense that's what stands out with him. He's never going to be this defensive freak, but because of his great hockey IQ, solid positioning, and vision, it helps his two-way game a lot. He's really effective with his stick, and he plays his part in making sure his teammates can work their way down the ice. Specifically, where he thrives is in the neutral zone and in transition. He'll find that open space in many effective ways, whether he makes himself an option near the opposition's offensive zone for a quick entry, or if he has to be the player to find a teammate who's open and ready to get into the offensive zone. He executes well and always plays a big part in helping his team generate offense. He's a really smooth player in transition. And I think this is another part of his game that stands out to me. His size is something that will hold him back a bit, but I'm sure he'll find a way to overcome it. His size will limit just how effective he can be in the defensive zone. He's not known to be the best back checker, but he makes up for it with his strong transition ability. He's not going to be this physical player, but I'm sure if he's paired with the right line mates, then he'll find a way to thrive. One of Dumais' biggest weaknesses is his skating. That was the story during his draft season. Skating is everything, and just how much he can improve in this department will likely determine how good he ends up being, and of course, how his transition to the NHL will play out. He took the criticism personally and worked hard on it last summer. Dumais took a big step forward with his skating, and it helped him tremendously this past season. It's still an area where he needs to improve, but it's a fantastic sign that he is dedicated towards filling any potential holes in his game. We saw Jason Robertson's skating ability hold him back early on in his career. Scouts had negative things to say about it during his draft season, but he's a player who has overcome that adversity. He worked his way around it. Jordan Dumais still has a ways to go with his skating ability before it is NHL ready. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Dumais is also in a very awkward situation at the moment. There are three things that concern me with Dumais. It's his size, his skating, and the fact that unfortunately due to the CHL-NHL agreement, Dumais sadly cannot play in the AHL until he's 20. Dumais' birthday is in April, so he wouldn't be able to come over to the AHL until the end of the season. Clearly the best situation for him would be for him to play his first full season in the AHL. Development is so very important, and Dumais still has some important steps to take with his development. Dumais is going to have to find a way to take another big step forward while having some odds against him. I just don't see how him returning to the QMJHL would be beneficial for him at all. He has nothing left to prove there. I think the most ideal situation for him this season would be for the Columbus Blue Jackets to test him out and give him a 9-game trial in the NHL. Dumais playing in the NHL instead of returning to juniors would likely be more beneficial for him, though it could be risky because his skating isn't at an NHL level. I also see Dumais as somebody who will need top 6 ice time to thrive. He more than likely wouldn't get that in Columbus next season. I do pretty much see it being impossible for Dumais to get past a 9-game trial, as the depth in Columbus is just too competitive for Dumais at the moment. However, doing what's best for his development would be wise. I'm sure he could gain some great experience by playing on the third line and on the second power play unit. If Columbus gives him a 9-game trial and then sends him back to the Q, then at least he could play in the NHL during October. Then he'll go back to Halifax for November and early December. Then around that time of the year, he will likely be gearing up for the World Juniors, which could be another fantastic boost for him with his development. He then would have to return to the Q for the rest of the year, but he could possibly also begin his pro career in the AHL if the Mooseheads get eliminated from the playoffs and if the Cleveland Monsters make the playoffs. The situation is obviously not very ideal for Dumais, but I think it's his best bet to find some success and for him to be able to take that notable big step forward this season. Jordan Dumais sure is an exciting prospect. I think there's a ton of upside there. I mean, you just look at how this guy fires on all cylinders when he's in the O-zone, the magic that he works, what he all brings to the table. He has what it takes to be a really big difference maker in the offensive zone someday at the NHL level. in the comment section below. Let me know, do you think Dumais will be able to translate into the NHL someday? Does he have what it takes to be a superstar? What do you think is the best situation for Dumais this season? Do you think he's actually going to be able to take a big step forward with his development, despite maybe not being able to be in the most ideal situation for himself? There's so much to discuss, so be sure to drop your comment. And if you're new here, then be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Any kinds of support is always appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in today. I will see you all next time.